Hi, I'm Nick Pawson and you're watching News 24 Live. I'm joined in studio this morning by the Sport 24 Rugby panel, Chief Writer Rob Howing and Editor Garen Lamley to preview this weekend's November internationals. Of course, gents, the big one, South Africa, Ireland. We don't seem to play Ireland enough. Rob, new centres for Ireland, and as far as I'm concerned, a lot of names I don't recognise.
Yes, indeed.
But they are, of course, the Six Nations champions.
Yeah, they've been hit by quite a few injuries. Let's not forget that they can't whinge too much because South Africa traditionally at the end of the year also go overseas, nursing plenty of walking wounded back home who don't play any part in the tour. But the South African team is probably closer to full strength. And let's not forget that we have a bigger playing pool to choose from. So the Irish are probably going to feel it a little bit more. I think they're particularly weakened. They normally like a lot of Northern Hemisphere teams. I think Garen will probably agree with me. They love to try and hit you at scrum time. And Ireland are without two of their top front rankers. I know Rory Best is their first choice hooker. He's not playing. Healy, their very influential loosehead prop, is also an absentee for several months, in fact. So they're going to miss him quite dearly. So maybe it's an opportunity for the Boks to really sort of almost reinforce their advantage, and I do believe they have an advantage for this game. I'll be very surprised if they slip on a banana peel so early in the tour. I know we're talking Six Nations champions, but it was a very close run thing, the Six Nations this year. Not taking anything away from Ireland, it's great that they won it, but it was very close. And it's not as though they're sort of dominating Northern Hemisphere rugby necessarily. So I do fancy the Springboks fairly solidly for this one.
Garen, the times we've played Ireland in Ireland, it's generally been quite a close affair.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned earlier, when it comes to the June test window, they hardly ever seem to come out here. So it is quite difficult to kind of draw comparisons.
Yeah. I saw a stat. This is actually the 22nd time we're playing Ireland since 1906. So in 108 years, we've only played them 22 times. That's sort of every 5 years, which isn't a lot. But they're a nice team to play, Ireland. They seem like a good bunch of chaps. But I agree 100% with what Rob said. I think the Ireland team is missing a lot of players. And also the Six Nations was so long ago now. It's probably not a true reflection of the Ireland form. They've lost Brian O'Driscoll, the inspirational captain, Gordon Darcy, his centre partner. They've actually got a former New Zealander playing at centre, Jared Payne, this weekend. So, and alongside I think a 21-year-old that nobody's ever heard of. So I expect South Africa to have dominance both up front and in the back line. I think historically we've won by a margin of 8 points, and I'm sort of leaning towards as many as that this time round as well. South Africa getting their overseas tour off to a winning start. Obviously we've got one eye on England next weekend, which I think will be the tough game of the tour. That'll tell us more about our chances for the World Cup, playing against England, one of the tournament favourites, at Twickenham, where the final will be held. So I think that'll be a better indicator of our current form. But not looking past Ireland, I think Heineke Meyer's men probably will be too strong. I think up front we'll have superiority there. Like Rob said, missing key players in their front row. Interesting, on the bench they've got Ricard Strauss, Adrian Strauss on the bench for South Africa. They're cousins. I'm sure at some point they'll be up against each other. So that's something to look out for there. But Ireland, led by Paul O'Connell, one of their more experienced players, he at least has a ton of tests behind his name. I think he's 35 years old. He's up against old Victor Matfield, even older than him. Matfield this week said that O'Connell was the best line-out opponent he's ever faced. So they'll have a ding-dong battle in the second row there. But overall, I think South Africa will get their tour off to a winning start comfortably by, I think, 8 to 10 points.